We'll begin with the land acknowledgement, Michener's acknowledgement. We acknowledge the sacred land where we are today, which has been and continues to be the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit River, among many other unnamed and unrecognized Indigenous communities. At this location, we stand on land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. We recognize this agreement not as a thing of the past, but as a promise today and into the future. We must share the responsibility of ensuring that the dish is never empty by taking care of the land and the creatures we share it with, and transforming our personal and institutional relationships. This meeting place is still home to many Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work and learn on this land. Thank you. So with that, I'll hand it over to my colleagues, Rebecca and Lakshay, to take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Financial Aid Information Session. My name is Rebecca, and I'm the Financial Aid and Awards Officer. Here with me today is my colleague Lakshi. She's the Associate Registrar, and Arjun, who is the Records and Registration Officer. We won't be using the video for the duration of the session, so it won't affect the sound and connection, but I just want to quickly introduce myself so that when you see me on campus, you know who I am and that you feel comfortable asking me a question. And looking forward to seeing everyone, but for now, I'm going to turn off the video so that the sound can come through clearly for the duration of the webinar. Before starting the presentation, I just want to address one thing to students who are currently enrolled in the joint programs with U of T, also known as the MRS programs. Please note that information in this presentation might not be applicable to you. And if you have any questions about financial aid and tuition fee, please contact U of T. As you probably know, you can apply for government financial aid to assist you with your post-secondary education. This aid comes from both federal and provincial sources, but is applied through one application with your home province. For most of you, this is probably OSAP. When you apply for financial aid, you will apply for grants and loans at the same time. As the slide mentions, grants, you don't need to repay, but loan do. You can choose whether you want to accept the loan portion of your funding. Many students will just accept the grants in order to mitigate the amount that has to be repaid after they complete their degree. Michener's primary role with financial aid is to provide guidance for students and to empower you with knowledge about financial aid so that you can make important financial decisions. A huge part of our job is acting as a liaison between OSAP and other provincial financial aid programs. Some of the things we can help you with are changes to applications, submission of documents, and submitting requests for review on your OSAP application. One thing that is important to remember is that Michener is not quite like other institutions when it comes to our relationship with OSAP. You might have been to a different institution before where the financial aid officer has access to your OSAP application. They can make changes and update your OSAP application directly. But due to the way Michener is funded and institutional constraints, we are unable to have full access to your OSAP application. So a lot of our job includes being in constant contact with the ministry so that they can make changes to your application. We can also submit documents on behalf of the students. So it's important to remember that when you're seeking guidance from our office, sometimes things may take a little longer. So please be always on top of the changes of your OSAP account. And we will also talk more about confirmation of enrollment later in detail. Income reporting. It is extremely important that you are reporting the correct income on your OSAP application. This income is always verified with the CRA against line 15,000 of your tax return, which is the total income you earn in that year. If there are differences in what you report in your application versus the income that is verified with the CRA, this can result in a significant reassessment of your OSAP funding. It's also important to report any new income received during your academic year. In previous year, the allowance for income per semester is $5,600 per semester, including child or spousal support, dividends, and interest earned on investment, tax-free savings account, and other employment income. We also strongly recommend that you report any scholarships, bursaries income to the ministry. OSAP can reassess your application even when your fund is already disbursed. When applying for OSAP, the personal and financial information you provided is used to determine your eligibility and funding entitlement. If this information changes, for instance, if you have added a dependent, moved away from home, or if there's changes in your income, you are responsible to notify the ministry. Other instances that can trigger a reassessment are when the ministry is verifying your income and they see a discrepancy, or when your study period changes due to withdrawal. These changes may increase, decrease, or not affect your funding entitlement. And to report the change, you might submit a review and have OSAP reassess your account. All review forms are available on the OSAP website. Uploading through the OSAP portal is always the fastest way to have OSAP receive your documents. If you cannot upload through the portal, you can contact us at regoffice@michener.ca, and we will forward the documentation to the ministry on your behalf. Confirmation of enrollment. Once you submitted your OSAP application, we will confirm your enrollment, meaning we will inform the ministry of your registration in your respective programs. The confirmation of enrollment period will occur in late August. This is also when we will redirect funds for your tuition. Funds that are redirected will appear in your statements in Michener self-service under anticipated aid. Currently, you should see $0 in this field on your statement. This is normal because the COE process has not occurred yet. Once the COE is completed, you will receive an email notification from us, and the fund will be dispersed within 10 business days. Tuition deadline and deferral. Some of you might have seen the tuition deadline on our website for Year 1 students for fall semester is August 18th. This deadline only applies to first-year students who does not have OSAP or other provincial student aids. For students who are receiving government financial aid, you will have an option to defer your tuition payment, and more detail will be sent to you in the coming week. Once the funds are disbursed after that 10 business days, we will update your student account with the funds. Any additional funds over and above what was redirected will be deposited into your personal bank account. One important thing to note is that OSAP student must pay any outstanding balance by September 8th. This is usually before the funds are released, so you will need to pay a close attention to how much OSAP you are going to receive and whether or not it will cover the total amount of your tuition. And as mentioned earlier, student will be notified via email when enrollment is confirmed. Once this occurred, you will be able to log onto your self-service portal to see how much funding has been redirected. This will be shown on your student statement as anticipated aid. For most students, the anticipated aid amount will be enough to cover your tuition for the fall semester. If this is not the case, you will see the difference listed under payment due. This is the balance you must pay by September 8th deadline. If you do not have a balance under payment due on your statement after you receive your COE notification and your anticipated aid amount is visible on your statement, no further action is required on your part. This picture is an example of when OSAP covers your full tuition fee. You can see the anticipated aid amount and the current balance amount are the same. Therefore, there's no balance under payment due. If OSAP funds does not cover your full tuition fee, there will be a balance under payment due. Disbursement. This is really important and causes a lot of student confusion every year. So please pay close attention to this slide. Again, Michener functions a little differently than some other schools you might have previously attended. This means that our summer semester are built into our programs. So if you have a summer semester, you have been assessed for OSAP for the entire year. You do not need to submit a separate OSAP application for the summer semester. You will only receive 2 disbursements throughout the year. One in September, approximately 60% of your fund, and one in January, roughly 40% of your fund. This means that your fall disbursement is usually larger than your winter disbursement. It's important to check this information on your OSAP portal. Again, students with summer semester will only receive 2 disbursements like everyone else, so which is important to budget. If you are a cooperative med lab respiratory program student, your first year only has 2 semesters. However, you will have 3 semesters in the second year, but you will only receive 2 disbursements as well. For genetic, cytology, cardiovascular, and ultrasound student, your first year will have 3 semesters, but you will also only receive 2 disbursements. I have to repeat this information over and over because every year students reach out to us saying they are not aware of this and they have used up all their money. And then unfortunately, OSAP does not provide additional funding. So please keep this information in mind. Budgeting. Budgeting is super important while you're studying full-time. As mentioned previously, 60% of your funding will come through this September. You will receive a lesser amount in January. Therefore, it is important to budget your fund accordingly. We encourage students to check the amount of your disbursement on your OSAP portal and use this information to develop a realistic monthly budget. One strategy that has been helpful to students is to put their OSAP disbursement in a saving account and then make a monthly transfer to your checking account with the amount you have budgeted every month. Keep in mind, your second disbursement will not be as large, so you will have to adjust your fund accordingly. Michener General Bursary is designed to assist students with financial need. Financial need, if eligible, you can receive up to $2,000 per semester, and the lifetime maximum amount per student is $6,000. And to be eligible for consideration, you must currently enroll in a full-time Michener program. You must be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or protected person. And you have accumulated government student financial debt and have exhausted all other financial aid opportunities. I will explain a bit more on this in the next slide. Application will be open in fall, and we will notify students via email once it's available. This year, the general bursary application for fall and winter semester will be a rolling application method. This means that you only need to submit one application to apply for both fall and winter bursaries. We will assess application as they are sent in. So if you are eligible, you can receive up to $4,000. The rolling application is only applied to fall and winter semester. The summer general bursary application requires a separate application, which will be open next year in the summer. So earlier I have mentioned that in order to be eligible for bursary, you must have exhausted all financial aid opportunity. So if you choose to only accept the grant portion of your OSAP, you will not be eligible for bursary because you have not exhausted all financial aid opportunity that's available to you. So please keep this in mind. Bursary for students with disability and the Canada Student Grant for services and equipment for students with permanent disability help full-time post-secondary students with the cost of their disability-related educational services and equipment. By submitting an application, you might receive assistance for the disability-related accommodations you need, such as note takers, tutors, interpreters, or technical aids while you're in post-secondary studies. And for more information, please visit OSAP website. And if you have questions regarding this bursary and grant, please contact accessibility@michener.ca. Of course, there are many other sources of financial aid available, and these are just a few of them. If you are experiencing financial difficulty, pressure or stress, or you think that you will have difficulty meeting tuition deadline, please reach out to us. It is much better to get a conversation going early than wait until things have gotten bad. Now I'm going to answer some questions that are posted on Slido, and after that we will answer some the question that in the Q&A. So the first question we got is, what bursaries or grants are available for master's students? Master's students can apply for a general bursary if you meet the requirements. There are also scholarships and awards available for all programs and also program-specific ones. My colleague will share a link to the scholarships page for you and also the bursary page. Scholarships application will be open in late fall, and we will notify students via email once that's available. The second question we got is, are there any bursaries reimbursement or for tablets or computer through the school or government? We don't have program at Michener that offer tablets or a computer, but we encourage students to apply for general bursary if you are having financial need. And if you're eligible for the BSWD and also the Canada Student Grant, you can use the funding to purchase equipment as well. Question 3, how do I ensure OSAP funding before school starts? I have submitted the application. Is there a way to expedite it? Unfortunately, we can't expedite the process because the ministry has their own timeline. If you have submitted your application and all the required documents, the next step will be the confirmation of enrollment, which will happen in mid to late August. And we highly recommend students to check their OSAP portal on a weekly basis for updates from the ministry. So if you have not submitted an application yet, we encourage you to do it as soon as possible, because sometimes there are documents that the ministry required, and it may take time for you to obtain them, or it will take time for the ministry to process them. This will cause delay for your funding. So it's important to be on top of your application, and just check your OSAP portal on a weekly basis so that you can see updates or messages from the ministry. Question 4. What happens if someone's OSAP documents are taking time or delayed to approve after September 8th? This does happen in a few cases, so please make sure that you are continually monitoring your OSAP portal and reach out to us if you think that the disbursement of your fund will be delayed, so we can add a note to your file. These kind of cases are usually assessed on an individual basis, so make sure that you are in conversation with us, and rather than waiting until the late fee is already applied to your account to reach out. Question 5, can we have an appointment with the financial aid officer? Absolutely, we are here and we're happy to help you whenever you need. We find that we are able to answer most of the questions via email. We check our inbox regularly, but there might be some delay during the busy season. We encourage students to first reach out to us through email because some students are not on site during our office hour, and we don't want you to commute all the way to school if you don't need to. In some cases, we might need to reach out to the ministry for answers or clarifications, and it can take up to 5 business days for them to get back to us. However, if you still wish to see us in person, our office is open on Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. It is best to notify us in advance if you wish to discuss your inquiry in person, so we can set up a time and ensure that we have staff available to assist you at the time you wish to come. You can send us an email to regoffice@michener.ca. We can also set up virtual appointment if you wish to speak with us but unable to come during our office hours. You can also send email to regoffice@michener.ca to book an appointment with us as well. We have a new initiative called Ask Me, which you can have a one-to-one appointment with a counselor. It happens every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. It's a drop-in session, so no registration required. My colleague will share a link to our website for more information on this. If you have any question at all, doesn't have to be financial aid, anything related to Michener, with your study, with your program, feel free to drop it to join this session. Now we will move on to the Q&A that in the Zoom, and I will pass it over to my colleague Lakshi to answer the questions.
So I can read out the first question. You've had some great questions so far. Thank you again, Rebecca. Just camera. Okay, so the first one asks, for the general bursaries, I am not eligible for OSAP as I have exceeded the maximum number of weeks. Would I be eligible for the general bursaries at Michener?
So thank you for your question. So I'll preface by saying not everybody will be guaranteed a general bursary. Submit your application, and when we assess it, we'll be able to determine whether or not you are eligible, but you can submit an application.
Thank you. Moving on to the next one. Hi, can I get OSAP if previously I have received it? No worries.
Yeah, so if you have a previous OSAP loan from your previous post-secondary studies, you can apply for OSAP again when you attend Michener.
Thank you. The next question says, if I do not get OSAP for the first semester, can I apply later?
So yes, you can apply for OSAP later in the year. There are specific deadlines that you do need to meet. So just give us or send us an email when you are thinking about applying, and we'll let you know if you're within the threshold of that time period. But you can apply after September.
The next question asks, what options do digital health and data analytics students have? They're not eligible for OSAP, and the bursary/scholarship program scholarship applications open in the fall. What if they cannot meet the August 18th deadline?
So if you can't meet the August 18th deadline, email regoffice@michener.ca, and we can see if we can extend that deadline for you or offer you a payment plan of sorts. Otherwise, DHDA students can apply for the general bursaries that we offer at Michener. But if you are having any sort of financial difficulty, please contact us.
Just give it a few minutes if anyone else has any questions. And remember, guys, if you're not sure of the question yet, or if you didn't get a chance to ask a question today, just send an email to regoffice@michener.ca and we'll be more than happy to get back to you. So you have a question, is there a payment plan available for everyone?
So it really depends. Most of our programs are OSAP eligible, so we do recommend that students apply for OSAP. If for whatever reason you can't get OSAP or any other student loans, please send an email to Reg Office and we'll review your case with you and then determine whether or not you're eligible for any sort of payment plans that we offer.
It's not a question, but you're very welcome, Sam, of course. Happy to help. Does anyone have any other questions that they'd like to ask? So is there a list of scholarships that will be available?
Yeah, so I put in the webinar chat the link to our scholarships and awards page. So it's broken down by all programs and then program specific awards. So take a look at that. When we do open up the application, you're welcome to apply for any of the awards that you feel that you meet the criteria for. Usually the deadline for that will be January 31st, around that time. And then we do open it up in the middle late fall semester. So you will get further details once the scholarships and awards applications are open.
So we have another question. We have a few questions. If I'm currently repaying OSAP, will I have to finish the repayment before I apply again for a Michener, or can I apply while in repayment?
So if you are on repayment or in repayment, you can apply for OSAP again. What will happen is once we confirm your enrollment with Michener, they will put a hold on your previous balance. So you won't be required to pay anything until you finish your studies here at Michener. Then you would go back on repayment 6 months after the end of your studies.
The next question is, will we get more information on what to put as the program start/end dates on the OSAP application?
Sorry about that. My computer just froze. So give us or send us an email to regoffice@michener.ca and we can provide you with the start and end dates. We are currently working on updating that information. If you have access to My Michener, you can find the start and end dates there as well. But just send us an email. We'll be happy to provide you with the start and end dates for this academic year.
And then we have one more that says, is Michener not on the list of schools on the OSAP website?
So Michener is, you usually just have to type in Michener and then you'll get it as an option to submit your application.
Just give it a few minutes more if anyone has further questions. Just to reiterate, don't hesitate when asking a question. If you're thinking about a question, there's a high probability that someone else also has that question. So please go ahead and ask. We have questions. Okay, when will the winter semester finish next year? Asking so I can apply for OSAP.
So it really depends on your program. If you're in med lab or medical lab science, chiropody or respiratory therapy year 1, your semester will start from September, or sorry, your academic year will be from September to April. But if you're in ultrasound, diagnostic cytology, genetics technology, cardiovascular perfusion, you would go from September to July. So again, just send us an email if you want the specific dates and we can provide that for you.
Thank you. Is the cardiovascular perfusion program eligible for NSERC, NSERC?
So at this time, no, it's not.
Are there any paid work opportunities for students through the school or on campus?
So we do have some student employment available. Our facilities department does offer part-time customer service representative work for students. The Student Success Network also posts a job board for any student or employment opportunities that are available at Michener or outside of Michener.
We just had a repeat question asking if there are any student employment opportunities available through Michener. So that question, the previous question answered that. These are great questions. Thank you. Question, what is the exact date that scholarships or bursaries applications will open? And how can we access the Student Success Network? Is it on the Michener website?
So we don't have the exact timeline yet for the scholarships and bursary award season. We will be working on that later this summer, but usually we do open up in middle to late fall. So around November is when we'll open it up, and then the deadline is usually at the end of January. So the Student Success Network is a team of counselors, learning coordinators, health services, and whatnot, and they are available to answer any questions at success@michener.ca. And they are also on site. If you have any questions, you can meet with the coordinator here on campus. And yeah, the information for them, you can find their details on the website in terms of what services they provide, or if you have any questions, send us an email. We'll be happy to redirect your questions to the team.
Currently on the OSAP website for the CVP program, there is only an option for entering year 2 of 2 under the master's degree. I'm unable to find the program option for entering year 1 of 2.
So thank you for letting us know. We are currently in the process of updating the ministry with the current tuition fee details for all of the programs here at Michener. So you might only be seeing year 2 of 2 because we just implemented the master's program this current academic year, and those students are moving on to year 2. So once year 1 is available, we will let all of the CVP students coming in this fall know that they can now submit their applications.
When OSAP funding is released, will it be automatically directed to cover cost of residence, provided that there's funding left over, after tuition is paid, and then provided a spot in residence?
So we only redirect OSAP to cover your tuition. So any additional OSAP funding that you have will go directly to your bank account, and you will be responsible for paying your residence fees with that money. If you have any questions about residence and payment, you can contact residents@michener.ca, but we will only redirect for your tuition fees.
Where can we drop off the consents, declarations, and student signatures signed?
So OSAP has changed over the years where you can actually upload all of those documents onto the OSAP portal. If you are having any difficulties with that, please contact us. We do recommend students submit everything through the portal so you don't lose anything, and so that the ministry actually receives your documents faster than you submitting them to us.
If I already submitted my OSAP application using the CVP diploma year 1 of 1 option, will I need to resubmit a different application later on?
So actually you don't need to. So when we do the confirmation of enrollment, we will be verifying your enrollment and what program you're in here at Michener. So we can update your application so that it is the master's year 1 of 1.
If we have a baby, would OSAP help cover daycare, etc.?
So OSAP will assess you based on your current situation. They may not include daycare costs. Any of the information we provide to OSAP is only tuition, books, and any other supplies and fees that are related to your education. If you do have additional expenses, or sorry, additional funding from OSAP, you can put that towards daycare, but something like that wouldn't be considered in your assessment. They would consider the fact that you do have a child. So you may receive more funding just based on that alone. But if you have any questions or you need to update any information from your application or with the ministry, again, please email us at regoffice@michener.ca and we can help you with that.
Thank you. Some great questions. I think we can take a few more.
So I do want to mention our entrance scholarship is actually open right now. So the entrance scholarship is open to any of our incoming students this fall. So we did recently open the entrance scholarship, but we haven't emailed the students yet due to we're having a bit of an issue with the Michener emails, which some of you may know about. So we will be contacting students next week about it, but if you are keen to submit your application now, I will put the link in the chat and you can submit your entrance scholarship. And it is available for all of our full-time programs, including DHDA.
I just shared the link.
Thank you. And I do also want to mention, so some of you may have already received access to your emails, and some of you may not have. So we expect this issue to be cleaned up by the end of this week. So everybody should be getting access to their Michener emails next week. And then we will be providing you with further details on any upcoming deadlines, any other departments at Michener that you should know of, and just any next steps for getting you ready for September.
Question: is there an estimate somewhere about how much extra fees might be to use for OSAP, for books, equipments, etc.?
So we do, on our website, we do have a section where we include the estimated fees for books, equipments, and supplies. Right now, it's still showing the 22-23 fees, but in July, it will be updated for the 23-24 fees. And I will link that in the chat for you.
Another question: can we opt out of the insurance, etc. fees? If yes, how?
So unfortunately, the health and dental fees cannot be opted out of. Michener is too small of an institution to be able to allow that. So all students have to remain in the plan.
Thank you for the links, the chat. We have a question. What kind of coverage does the tuition include?
So tuition would cover the program expenses. So that's to run the program. And any of the ancillary fees, which include lockers to store your supplies, the bursary levy, the technology fee, the media fees, fees to provide you services here on campus like counseling and health and dental. So that's what the fees include. On our tuition fee website, if you go down to the very bottom, I'm sure Rebecca will link that for you. You can find the breakdown of all of the ancillary fees. And I will note that unfortunately you cannot opt out of any of the ancillary fees. Again, Michener is too small for that. So there's no opportunities to opt out of any of them.
Let's give it a couple of more minutes for questions. Do the fees cover any access to U of T's facilities? Example, athletic center.
No, so Michener fees are only for Michener. You will have access to Michener's gym, which includes a basketball court and a fitness center. But unfortunately, because we're only affiliated with U of T through the medical radiation science program. So those students would have access to the U of T facility since they pay tuition to U of T. But if you are in one of the Michener only programs, you would not have access.
You're very welcome. Are there health and dental centers at Michener?
If I'm understanding your question correctly, are you asking whether there's like a dentist or a doctor on campus? There's no dentist on campus, but we do have a health nurse. So she, Gloria, and she's the one that you will be sending all of your immunization and other records to. But in terms of like a doctor that would actually see you and assess you, we don't have one on campus either. But we are downtown, just on the other side of Dundas and St. Patrick. There is the Grange where there is a dental office there. And we do have doctors in and around the neighborhood. There is a walk-in clinic in that area as well.
There's another question. Do the fees include printing services on campus?
Yes, you do. So your ancillary fees do include printing services. I believe it's 10 cents to print black and white and maybe 30 for color. I'm not too sure about the color one, but you do have some funds for that. And then you can put on additional funds once you're on campus and you need to print some other things while you're here.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have for today. Yeah, thank you everyone so much for joining today's session.
Sorry, Rebecca, there's one last question.
Oh, go ahead. So sorry.
Not sure if it was asked, but are there student employment opportunities on campus? Yes, there are.
Yeah,
so that
there's
question
a
was
few.
asked, yes.
Our facilities department does hire students to help with reception work in the evenings and weekends. And again, the Student Success Network does have a job board for any opportunities that might be off campus or in and around the campus. But yeah, there are opportunities. And again, we do have some time for the webinar. So if you still have any questions, please feel free to submit them. We're happy to answer them.
Where is the job board?
We can put that in the chat for you.
When do they open applications for those student employment opportunities?
So there's no set deadline for this. It depends on when the need arises. So the job board is available pretty much 24/7. Facilities, the facilities department will usually in the beginning of the year is when they'll start looking for potential students to hire. So just keep an eye on that, or you can always email success@michener.ca to see if they have any news on when possible employment opportunities might be popping up.
Another question, did you mention that we will be getting an email about applying to OSAP soon?
So you can apply for OSAP now. You don't need to wait for us to confirm anything with you. If you've already accepted your offer and you know for sure you're coming this fall, you can submit the application now. And it's always better for you to submit it early than later because that ensures that your funds are received on time and that you don't run into any issues once you start classes in September.
For the OSAP application, what is the academic year start and end date of the respiratory therapy program?
Send us an email at regoffice@michener.ca and we can provide you with the specific dates for the respiratory therapy program.
Do we have some time? Lakshya, do you think I can maybe share my screen to kind of show a student where they can find a model route?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, give me a minute. Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. So if you would like to know the start and end date of your program, go to mymichener.ca. You need to log into your account. Go to academic program. So for example, respiratory therapy, if this is your program, you click on it and scroll down to the bottom, you see model route. You can click on the 2023. So you can see that for fall 2023, the start date is September 5th, 2023. And make sure that the end date, if you have 2 semesters, the end date will be in April. So for respiratory therapy for this year, if this is your first year, your end date will be April 26th, 2024. Okay. I can find another example for a program with 3 semesters. So if you're in genetics technology, your start date will be September 5th, 2023, and the end date will be July 26th, 2024. So hope that helps. If you're not sure, any question at all, just email us and we can provide you with the dates.
Thank you, Rebecca. We have 2 questions. The first one says, not exactly related to financial aid, but what would happen if the VSC was delayed in being received?
So if your VSC or any other health requirements are delayed, please email healthservices@michener.ca. They are usually really good at making or extending deadlines for students that are incoming this fall. So just make sure to send them an email as quickly as possible so that they're aware, because they would be the ones that handle this and will be able to answer this better for you.
And the next question is, do you have a sample course schedule for MLS?
So we don't have a sample course schedule for MLS or any of the other programs. Schedules will be released in July, and registration will also be available in July as well. All of those details will be included in your next steps email, which should be coming out next week. But if you do have access to My Michener, if you were one of the successful students that were given an email account last week, you can actually see the current academic year schedules on My Michener.
Another question, are the jobs on the board for people studying or for people who have already graduated?
It's for both. I know it comes up as alumni, but it's for both current and graduating or graduated students. Usually around this time, because most of our students have completed and convocation is actually this weekend, you'll see a lot more job postings for students that have completed their programs from clinics and other medical institutions that are looking to hire, but it's for everybody.
Thank you to all of you for the great information provided. You're very welcome, Sam. We're always happy to help. And please remember, you can always reach us at regoffice@michener.ca and we will respond to you as soon as we can. Our response times are typically less than a day, and we get back to everyone that reaches out to us, or we will direct your query to the person directly responsible for helping you out. So please never hesitate to um, to to talk to us, to ask us any questions. We are your one-stop shop for getting access to any and all resources.
And if you ever have any questions where you want an answer face-to-face or right away, join us every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30 for Ask Me. We have representatives from the RO, so admissions, financial aid, health services, the Student Success Network, facilities, the Learning Resource Center, which is the library. So anybody that offers some sort of student service, they're usually there for the hour. And if you have any questions at all, someone will be very happy to answer them for you. So that's every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30. The link is in the chat, but if you need to, you can send us an email. We'll be happy to send you those links as well.
Okay, I think we're getting close to 3. I'm just gonna wrap up the presentation. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. A live recording of this video will be sent out to students and it will be available on our event page sometimes next week, I believe. So keep an eye out on the email, and if you want to revisit any session of this webinar for your reference. And also please reach out to regoffice@michener.ca if you have any questions about financial aid or OSAP, or any questions that you're not sure and you need help with. We can help you. We can redirect your inquiry to the departments that can provide answer for you. And yeah, we're happy to assist you with any way that we can. So thank you again for joining and have a great afternoon, everyone.